Hi, friends. I don't know about you, but the recent years, and especially the last week or so, have felt brutal in the US. Headlines about terror in schools, young lives lost, parents afraid to send their kids to school, a high profile life taken just this past week, and online voices actually praising it. America feels more and more divided, and it feels like it's becoming a dangerous place more than ever.
And if you are in your 50s and 60s trying to plan your retirement, you feel it even deeper. Every headline adds stress, every dinner table feels like a battlefield, and you wonder if this is really how I want to spend the years that I have worked so hard for.
Stick with us because in this episode, we'll show you a way out, a calmer, safer, smarter path, one where your money goes further, your stress melts away, and your peace comes first.
We have done scouting trips for our retirement abroad, and we have found out that in Italy and Eastern Europe, we have seen people that argue politics with a lot of passion, but then they hug and then they raise their glasses and wish each other a long life. And they've learned from history that putting politics above people never ends well, and they've experienced it in their history. It serves us well to learn world history and to learn from these countries. And people in these countries, they refuse to sacrifice their friendships over politics. They never put it at the altar and worship it like most of us do here, apparently recent years in the US.
Meanwhile, here in the US, we've grown so independent, so isolated, that neighbors find it easier to see each other as enemies. Thanksgiving dinners feel dreaded. Social media keeps us locked in echo chambers. And life itself, well, its values, its dignity, feels like it's slipping away.
But it doesn't have to be this way. Travel actually does change your perspective, we have found. Abroad, we have seen cultures that live with respect, they debate without destroying each other, and they keep love and their relationships stronger than politics.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, if you get that perspective, they can actually change your retirement years, maybe even save your own health.
Stay with us because in the next few minutes, we'll show you why retiring abroad might be the best option for peace, purpose, and freedom, and how you can start building step by step. Here's the hard truth. Retirement in America is becoming unattainable.
And you do feel it everywhere. The headlines that make your heart sink, the tension at the family gatherings, the bills that pile up higher and higher. And for so many of us, it feels like the dream of a peaceful retirement is slipping away here in the US.
Let's put it into perspective. The average American between 55 and 64 is about $185,000 saved. That sounds okay until you run the numbers. Using the 4% rule of thumb, that's about $700 a month.
That doesn't even cover our property taxes, and it doesn't cover it in many states either. And it barely touches the healthcare, groceries, the cost of simply just living. So meanwhile, the average retiree has to spend about $5,000 to cover the cost of living here in the US. And $5,000 a month, folks, that means it's $60,000 a year. So then the math is just not working out.
That's why so many Americans keep working into their late 60s and even into their 70s. Or they give up the very thing they work so hard for, travels, hobbies, and enjoying family. They're not retiring, they're surviving.
But here's the shift, guys. Abroad, that same $700 a month in some of the countries of low-cost living can cover food and rent and even healthcare in some cases. And beyond the numbers, you will find calmer communities, slower days, and conversations that do not end up in fights.
Imagine mornings spent walking to a seaside market, evenings at a cafe with neighbors who welcome you, not argue with you, and retirement where politics doesn't dominate every conversation and stress doesn't steal your joy.
Yeah. And guys, if that vision speaks to you, hit subscribe right now because Smart Retirement Abroad is all about helping you plan smarter, to retire sooner, and live freer.
Here's what travel has shown us. People everywhere argue about politics, but abroad, they don't destroy each other over it.
So how come that a group of friends and family members at that long dinner table in Italy, they were arguing so out loud, they were still continuing to pour wine for each other, they kept laughing, and they still hugged goodbye, and families stayed like family?
In Albania, Neighbors debated in cafes. We saw this. Passionate, loud, very expressive. But when the cups were empty, they toasted each other's health and walked home as friends. Politics was not more important than community.
Right. And in Turkey, people who saw the world completely different than us, they still welcomed us with tea and they asked us about our families. They made us feel like we belonged, and that is humanity.
So, what if the cure for America's divisions isn't another debate, but buying a boarding pass? What if travel itself could heal us?
Because travel does teach you quickly. People everywhere, you find out, they want the same things. They want safety, they want family, they want good food, they want joy. And once you have broken bread with someone, it is impossible to hate them. And that is what we tell people. Do travel. Even if you are not ready to retire just yet, go, see, learn. And the tool that you will find out that you will need to use the most and learn from the most is respect. Respect for humanity.
And here's the connection to retirement. Abroad, at least in many countries, you don't just stretch your money, you step into communities where respect is still alive, where neighbors value you as a person, not as a political label.
And if that vision resonates with you, hit the like button right now and subscribe. It does help us share this message of peace and perspective with more people who need it. And stick around because next we will show you the math of retirement in America, which is not really mathing really correctly for many Americans at this point, and why retiring abroad can be possibly your smartest move.
Let's get back to the numbers, because this is where it gets real. Retirement in America is frankly unaffordable for most people, period.
185,000 in savings. That's what most Americans have now. 700 it means for a month in income. 5,000 in average monthly expenses that still need to be covered. Do the math. Does it work out? And the stress of trying to make it work is crushing people in their late 60s, and they can't see a day to retire.
That's why so many people keep working long after they wanted to stop, or they downsize so much they lose the joy they dreamed of. And honestly, that's not retirement, that's survival mode.
Yeah. But actually abroad, in some of the countries, that same $700 takes you so much further. Rent in Portugal or Albania, a fraction of US prices. And healthcare, it's a fraction too. And your quality of life actually improves instead of shrinking.
And instead of stress, you get sunshine, community, and time.
So picture yourself walking to the market, buying bread for $1, stopping to talk with the neighbors who smile and don't argue, sitting outside late at night, hearing laughter instead of headlines. And that is the kind of lifestyle that your money can buy when moving abroad in some of these countries that we're mentioning.
If you're ready to stop surviving and start living, become a subscriber right now to Smart Retirement Abroad. It's here to give you the tools, the numbers, and inspiration you need to make it real. Travel doesn't just change your view, it changes you. It doesn't just give you new sights, it gives you a new perspective.
That's right. And travel does make you more open-minded. It makes you more curious. You start listening more. You start even respecting more, not just other cultures, but even people that see the world differently than you.
Here in the US, politics is breaking friendships, families, neighborhoods. Abroad, we've seen something else.
And we've seen families and friends abroad still arguing about politics. They do have their own politics in their own countries. It does affect them, but it doesn't break their friendships and the families. They still hug each other at the end of the day. They still raise their cups to each other's good health, and they leave home together. So if you have ever felt exhausted by America's division, hit like right now.
Let's talk about the personal side of division, because it's not just headlines, it's our homes, our families.
And you have seen it possibly. Thanksgiving dinners are cut short, friends unfriending each other over Facebook, siblings do not speak anymore, and all because of politics?
And that's tragic, because retirement should be about gathering with people, not losing them.
But abroad, we have seen something very different. In Greece, for example, neighbors with totally different political views sat together at the dinner table at the taverna. They argued, yeah, for sure, and out loud, for sure. But by dessert time, they hugged each other, they laughed with each other, they raised their cups to each other's health. What's better than that?
So why do we here in America let politics destroy love? Abroad, people prove you can disagree and still love each other.
Yeah. And that is the gift of retirement abroad. It is not just affordable, but it is relational. It places you in communities that value connection over conflict, and especially over political conflict.
Imagine dinner in Spain with new friends. Nobody asks you how you voted, just asks about your family, your story, your dreams. That's the kind of community you can retire into.
So here's our challenge to you. Comment below with a first name, someone that you would love to sit with again, and leave the politics aside. Let's remind ourselves that people matter more than labels.
That's right. And while you're here, subscribe because Smart Retirement Abroad is more than travel. It's about healing, about connection, about joy. Let's breathe for a moment. Because if America is anything right now, it's loud, it's angry, and it's exhausting.
And our bodies cannot take that forever. Stress does raise the blood pressure. It does steal sleep. It shortens your life. And your retirement years? Well, those were supposed to be the season of calm.
Abroad, calm isn't rare. It's normal. In Croatia, for example, retirees sit at cafes for hours talking about family, about daily life. In France, markets are filled with laughter. No one's glued to the screen. No one's rushing.
And I'll never forget sitting at the French market, watching the neighbors laugh and kiss each other at the cheeks. It's just an ordinary way of saying hi to each other, but it's extraordinary to us as visitors because it was calm and it was human and it was full on acknowledgement about somebody else. It reminded me what we have lost here in the US.
And that's the biggest gift of retirement abroad. Yes, the money goes further. Yes, healthcare is cheaper, but the real treasure, calmness. Yes, a slower pace, a rhythm that restores you instead of drains you.
So think about it. Right now, America feels like a hurricane. The headlines, the bills, the arguments, and abroad, you can step outside of this storm. You can step into gentler skies, a slower living, and into peace.
And you don't need millions to claim that calm. You don't need to wait until 65. No, ordinary Americans are doing it, planning, with courage, and you can do it too.
So you can take one step today. You go ahead and research a country. Write down what calm looks like to you.
And drop a comment right now. What's one thing that brings you calm? Music, a walk, a good meal perhaps? Imagine if that was the rhythm of your everyday.
You have worked too hard to let stress steal your retirement. You do deserve your calm. You do deserve your joy. And abroad, in many countries, you can have both.
Here's another truth. American news thrives in fear. That's their product, and it steals your best years.
You wake up, you scroll the headlines, and your heart sinks before your morning coffee. Family and friends arguments online, and neighbors glare, and instead of joy, you live with the constant anxiety. Are you being labeled?
Abroad, the noise fades. In Portugal, retirees linger over coffee. In France, markets buzz with laughter. In Mexico, plazas fill with music. Life is bigger than headlines.
I remember that morning at the French market, bread still warm, kids were running, neighbors were laughing. It was a simple, just ordinary day, but it did feel like medicine to us. And that is what feels like America is missing in the day-to-day life, the joy in the ordinary.
Yeah. And here's the health piece. Stress shortens life, as we all know. But calm, walkable communities, well, they extend it. Retirement abroad doesn't just stretch your dollar, it actually can stretch your healthy lifespan.
You don't know how many healthy years you will have in your retirement. So ask yourself, what do you want your retirement headlines to be looking like? Another fight on Facebook, or I am just watching the sunset with my spouse? You get to choose which headline you want to read.
I'll do the sunset.
So share your dream headline in the comments. Let's start replacing fear with actual vision. And do subscribe because we will show you how to make that real.
So here's the bottom line. You don't have to stay stuck in the storm. No. Retirement abroad gives you peace, affordability, and freedom.
And you do not need millions to do this, and you do not need to wait until you're 65. With smart planning, you can retire sooner, calmer, and healthier abroad.
So here's your next steps. Subscribe to this channel.
And join our Facebook group. The link is down below.
Comment with your biggest retirement question. We'll answer.
Yes, we do look at your comments and we take our time to answer. You are valued to us. And do watch our other episodes. We do already cover the cost of living abroad, the myths about retirement, and we provide answers to fears about this unknown idea of retiring abroad.
So click here or here or here to see our other episodes.
Yeah, we never know where exactly YouTube is placing the cards for the other episodes. So click where you see it now.
And then start dreaming again. Start picturing the life you deserve. Calm, joy, freedom.
And
You can
abroad.
Yes, abroad. You can have all that abroad.
Yeah. Do subscribe and join us in this journey and let us build your smart retirement abroad together. We are Ella
And Kevin.
And this is
Smart Retirement Abroad.
Retirement isn't what it used to be. It's no longer just the finish line. It's a doorway.
And for those of us in our 50s and 60s, these are the go-go years. The years to move, to explore, to live,